Shalom, we the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah. First and foremost, I want to say, call Halayim La, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Kakdash. May double honor to the elders and apostles, great ministers, and told me the truth and rule well. Much respect to you, brothers out there, pushing the truth for all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. We'll start at verse 18. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. It says, the beginning of evils, and what shall I do when these evils shall come? Slaki. What shall I do when these evils shall come? All right. So it's the beginning of mournings, sorrows and great mournings. All right. So I want to go to 2nd Ezra chapter 9 real quick. A precept. This is 2nd Ezra 9:1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the times past which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will visit, wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. All right. So when we see parts of the signs past, then we know that you know that's the beginning of where the Lord will start to visit the earth, roughly paraphrasing. So this is 2nd Ezra 16. We'll start verse 18 again. So it says the beginning of sorrows. When we start to see the beginnings of those sorrows and great mournings, and right now with this whole Trojan horse thing, great sorrows and great mournings are happening. They're passing different legislations, mandates, and things like that to cause great sorrows. People are losing jobs, and it's a big controversy over this whole thing. Great mournings. A lot of people are dropping from that mandate. It says the beginning of famine. We started to see we started the famine already ensued months ago. They were just masking it. Now they're not hiding anymore. It's a man-made famine on the left-hand side. We know the Lord is using Esau to induce a famine because people don't want to get with the whole program. It says the beginning. Oh, it says in great death. The beginning of wars. All right, we starting to see the beginnings of wars. World War III has already started. They just not they're not like broadcasting it. But it's going to intensify. It says, "And the power shall stand in fear." And just going back on the wars, what other reason would they start drafting women for? It's because it's a war. It's like if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time that they started drafting women for wars. It says the power shall stand in fear. The powers are standing in fear for a lot of reasons, man. They see that their kingdom is falling out of their hands. All right. It says the beginning of evils. All right. So these evils, the bad times are starting to happen. Verse 19. Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. So the Lord wants change. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So 2/3 of the nation of Israel are not going to turn from their wickedness. Verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. All right. So victuals are going into your food as well as your supplies. Right. It seems as if it's cheap right now, but it's only going to get worse because of inflation. That's ultimately going into inflation. Right now, you can buy something for what we would call cheap, but the price is going to increase. It says the sword. The sword is increasing because it just going into that famine. It's a famine of workers, man. So it's a famine of emergency workers. So therefore, an example of an emergency worker is, a cop, a policeman. It's a shortage of them. In Chicago, they had an article come out saying that half of their department was going to, to resign because they didn't want to get with the Jews program. So the sword is going to increase and famine. All right. Right now, they got a certain amount of numbers, and dozens of thousands of people that of dozens of thousands of those cargo boxes on the coastline. It says in great confusion. It's great confusion for many reasons, and one being that people just don't know what's going on. You got, the whole Trojan horse thing going on. You got, shortages of everything. They don't want cash no more. Are you wearing a mask or not? Like stuff like that. All right. Um, we can keep going. It says, "For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice." Verse 28. "For as a city that shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves, and in the clefts of the rocks, as in the orchard of the olives, and the orchards of the olives upon every tree, there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of grapes, clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so, of those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them, 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword." Okay, so people not gonna have no food. They're gonna be, doing what they want, looking for food. Um, and I'm gonna skip down some. Oh no. "And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through." You know, verse 33, "The virgin shall mourn," and just going into that, they can set it up to where, they blocking off certain areas. And even with this, the whole juice system going on, people not gonna be able to go to certain places because they ain't trying to get with that, they ain't trying to get the juice. Verse 33, "The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughter shall mourn, having no helpers." Verse 34, "And the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish for lack of famine." So it's gonna be a shortage of men out here, and it's already a shortage of men right now. You got a lot of men that's arrested, incarcerated. You got, a lot of dudes that's with that whole ABC program. Um, you got men that they got the jab, and they can't predict, they can't reproduce no more. They infertile. You know what I'm saying? So or they what's the word? Stay sterile. Yeah, they sterile. So um, it's gonna be a shortage of men. All right, and that's a reason that Isaiah 4:1 is gonna come into place. Isaiah 32 and 2. We're just getting into the famine. It's reiterating on that famine that's coming. They got the shortages of almost everything. Shortage of people, shortages of supplies, food, workers, things like that. So Lord willing, that was edifying. I'm gonna close it up by saying, "Call her Layim La, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah Bashim, Kardak Shalom."